Recordings off. I don't know. What does that mean? Hello, are we live? Okay, let's go to. I think we're live.
We
It
are.
says we are live. Okay, yeah. Somebody smart like you knows that we're live because I haven't gone to my Facebook yet. So welcome to the Powder Coater podcast where we are live. Oh yes, I see myself right now. We are live on Facebook. We are live on Twitter, I think. If anybody's on Twitter, check it out. Uh, we're on several pages on Facebook, and we're also on YouTube. So if you guys are anywhere near those places, come on into the chat. Anybody can ask a question. We've got Ashton Palmer from Palmer's Powders. It has been way too long since we've talked. And of course, let's do some bragging stuff, right? Let's also mention that, during just some of the last week's post, Spotify does this annual thing called Wrapped. And as a podcaster, and actually, if you have a Spotify account as a listener, it'll tell you what your favorite music or podcasts are. It'll give you like a ranking thing. But in podcasts, I think they give you a little bit more. And so one of the things that we discovered was that our top three podcasts have been kind of the ongoing podcasts, the favorite ones. We've continued to still rank number one. I think Roro from Roro Designs on Instagram. Hello, Roro, if you are listening to this podcast. Thought it was him again, so because he won last year. But actually, it was Terry Peterson, who is a consultant, and we talked about the knowing what you're worth, and we kind of go through that with Ross too. It's like a two-parter kind of thing. But number three, and consistently last year too, I think you ranked two last year. You're number three this year, is a 3.5 hour podcast talking to you and just chatting it up. And it didn't seem like 3 hours, and I'm sure today isn't going to be that. It's going to be like walking on marshmallows with you. So welcome to the show, Ashton.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure. It's been a long time. It's been 2 years since we did it last.
Yeah.
So a lot's happened. Lots have came and gone since then. I mean, a lot of things have changed for me since that time, I would say. And I mean, it's crazy. It just seems like it was yesterday.
It does, doesn't it? I know. I try to make everybody feel comfortable on the show. I think I do a pretty good job of it most of the time. Sometimes there's awkwardness, but it doesn't seem like 2 years that we've been podcasting for 2.5 years now. It just doesn't. I mean, I get times where it's really hard to get guests on because they're busy or they're on vacation or it's the holidays or whatever. But I try to stay as consistent with it as I possibly can because I'm learning along with everybody else, right? So it's good to check in with you and see what's changed, what do you want to talk about today? We kind of did some back and forth about topics and stuff, but I think most of the time with you and me, it's just like we just end up
natural.
going dive it. Yeah, it's just we end up naturally going anywhere we need to go. So
authentic.
Yeah.
That's what podcasting is supposed to be. It's supposed to be just a little bullshit fest. And I mean, at the end of the day, I think podcasting for me has. I mean, I grew up, watching Supercross and motocross as a kid, and as a kid back then, in the late 90s, early 2000s, the only way we could get information was the monthly magazine or, like every so often a movie would come out or a video would come out, and it would take, a year for a good movie to come out. So those were like your bits of like information that you could get. And then if you got like some cool little more than you would normally get information, it was like this cool, experience, with whatever you're into, being that it was racing dragsters or whatever, or soccer, football. I think podcasting's allowed, our followers, not only for just me, but everybody else. Like when it comes down to powder coating, if you're an athlete, like it gives you that chance to get a little bit closer into what's going on. And then you also get that point of view of like, wow, like I relate a lot with, so-and-so, or what he says or what he thinks, or this, like, I didn't know I was so much alike, in those certain aspects. So it's just like a cool little thing that gets you to, see beyond the veil, and, allows us to really show, not only our customers, but our followers, and, maybe future customers and followers of, who they're going to be dealing with and who they want to choose, or whatever. There's so many different outlets with it.
I agree with you. And just to kind of point out that the boys were watching or reading the motocross magazines, and the girls were picking up Tiger Beat and
yeah, or whatever
celebrity, this, the heartthrob, magazine.
Cosmopolitan was a big magazine in my household when I was a child. My mom read that stuff nonstop.
Yeah. So, but I think you're right, and it's funny that you say this, because you and I are connected. Like, you'll say something, and then I just like, yeah, I was just thinking about that the other day. And what I was thinking about was, as frustrating as Facebook and Instagram can be, with posting and all the other stuff that goes with it, or competition, or trying to get likes and followers. What I really do like about it is that you're in Idaho, I'm in Hawaii, we're friends on Facebook. There are people across the world that we connect with on the daily in these platforms, and we wouldn't have been able to do so otherwise. And I think that that's still a shining star, as frustrating as like the political scene and the cultural scene can get, and the shenanigans that go on, and shakedowns that go on online. Aside from all of that drama, on the personal level, it's great to know you and Roro and all the other guys that I follow, and we follow all the time. So, yeah, I think it's great that we have that opportunity.
I think one of the coolest things is, ever since I've done your podcast, like, I put it out there in the beginning, like, I'm not here just to, like, I'm not here for money. I'm not here for fame. Like, this is what I love to do. Some days it sucks. Like, I suffer with motivation, or, like being productive every single day, all day. Like, it seems to ebb and flow when your creative mind sparks. But the coolest thing that I've taken from this is, it's like, TP Performance out of Australia. He hit me up, I want to say a little over a year ago, or even not, like, a little bit after we did the first episode with each other. Mm-hmm. And I've helped that dude day in, day out, just with, he asked me a question, I give him an answer. And then it's just like, I've watched this guy go from in his garage to now basically powder coating full time with just the little words that I've got to say. And it's like, if it wasn't for this podcast, him and several other powder coaters within the industry, I've gotten to help. And, it's like, I don't know. It's definitely more rewarding than actually doing something that's groundbreaking or getting reposted from Prismatic. It's the dudes that are actually taking my advice, running with it, and seeing them be successful with just little bits and pieces I've taught them or guided them through.
Is that TP Performance Coatings?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, okay, cool. He's following me. I will.
Yeah, he said he watched the show. So, and then after he watched the show, he reached out, and I've had several people reach out because of the podcast. Like, your show allowed me to. Your show allowed me to be like at a point I was known in certain, like within the vape industry, because I was doing so much vape stuff. So, like, that was really the only demographic I was getting seen by, and then going on your show allowed other, within the industry, like other powder coating shops and other custom dudes and just like other brands within this industry were actually starting to see me after that. And that was pretty cool.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, I've always constantly mentioning you within other shows, just because it was such a memorable show. And But you say some very, I think that I look at you as the, I don't know how to say it. It's like you're the heart and soul of powder coating. You get it not just in your mind, but in your heart and soul too, right?
I would say our industry, like if you're an applicator, I don't know. I don't like to get super taboo, but I would say it's a little bit holistic. Because if you don't know what your gun's doing and you don't feel it,
Yeah.
like my gun is at certain settings, and if I don't feel that through my body or my clothes or my suit, and like I'm like it boils down to my hat being on wrong or my shirt being uncomfortable, like everything's not peaches and rainbows, but as long as people know that they're taking their things to get done by somebody that is passionate about it and lives and breathes it and just loves it, then I mean it's hard to come out with hard to come out with a shitty product at that point.
And it's worth paying the money, because I think that ultimately, Instagram is actually a visual way to kind of see that passion coming through on the camera if you're good at taking photos. But if you can, obviously your customer sees it when they pick up their parts and they just look at the perfection and they're like, wow, you took that and turned it into this, right?
I have a hard time handing it over to customers now. Like,
oh, really? Like, are you going to take care of this?
Well, that's the main thing, is it's like all the way down to like packaging and putting it in their car. Like I've taken it off the rack with gloves on. Like, so there's no fingerprints. Like, like I want them to fingerprint it and I want them to smudge it. Like that's, you know what I mean? Like, I think we all deal with that kind of a problem when it comes to, actually getting it in the hands of the customer.
Right.
So it's like, I guess maybe that's like my downfall when it comes to certain things. It's like,
I don't think that's.
Well, I would say mentally, like, because you're just so on edge about the product being perfect until they're like in their hands and they get to do with what they want with it, because I mean, what's the worst thing? You pull something out, it's got a little contamination in it, or this or that, and it's like sometimes my wife's like, dude, you need to chill out, because what you can see and what other people can see are two different things.
True. I think sometimes you need to kind of hear your wife or girlfriend kind of say, hey, take it down a notch. I sometimes Ross gets like that, it gets, but he's training someone right now. Hallelujah. We finally hired someone.
Thank God.
So yeah, that was just, I kept bothering you like, hey, move to Maui.
I was like this close. I was like talking to my wife. I'm like, Maui sounds pretty good right now.
But he just happened to step in one day and we got to talking, and now a month later he's working here. So we're in the training process, but they're doing a lift kit right now that actually got powder coated on the mainland and shipped to a guy here. And of course it turned out to be the wrong color. I don't know what happened there. The powder coating looks okay. It looks like they did a decent job. I don't know about prep, and I told him, I said, I can't guarantee it.
It was probably from the manufacturer, right?
No. It's hot. I think it's called hot shot powder coating or something like that.
Regardless of who did it, I always see a lot of that stuff. Like, I mean, there's a lot of, I would say like the diesel truck industry or just lifted truck industry is like the forefront of powder coating right now, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Like I'm not saying it's bad, like, and I'm not opposing it. Like, I'll do that kind of work all day if I get it. But it's just oversaturated, I would say, for like, marketing and whatnot, from what I see. But there's so many custom lift kit people right now. Like, I think there's even one here local north of me that they'll make it and then they powder it for you in house. So it's like, I'm not saying that's a bad situation, but there's a lot of scary things that goes down.
Well,
unless that fabricator is just as anal when it comes to finish work. So
yeah, and sometimes they just want to get it out the door so they can sell it, right? So
yep.
I kind of question that too. I agree with you on that, because I said, well, he goes, well, can you powder coat over powder coat? And I said, well, yeah, of course we can. It doesn't, I guess the color that they picked, or that he left it up to the custom coater to pick the color to match his truck. I don't know. Something happened. He was moving here to Maui from the mainland. And so he thought it would just go okay. And
That's
it
like
went horribly wrong.
another good advice right there, though. Like when you tell the custom coder to pick your color, we have this awesome e-commerce website with Prismatic, and there is a paint matching code generator thing in there.
Yeah.
Just for everybody to know. So
yeah, we should go over there. Let me try to find it. I didn't know.
So like you can take your paint code from whatever car,
okay,
and put it in there.
What page is it on?
Like I don't know, I'm always doing it from my phone. So it's like when you go to it's like shop powder coating colors, or like the color match. That's what it's called. The color match section. So when you go there, you can put in the code for whatever. If you can find a code for the color you're trying to match, let's just put it that way, and you put it in, Prismatic's going to come up with all the variants it has to offer you to try to match it. Now, that is up to you as the custom coder to, if you want to, or if the customer is going to pay for the pound to test, let's say if there's 3 variances, then do it. Spray 3 spray out cards, clear them if they need clear, and go from there. And then your eye will tell you. You know what I mean?
Okay, let me see if I can. Hold on, I'm going to share. Oh, wait, I need a window. No, you don't need to see my QuickBooks.
That's like my main thing is like, I mean, I can try to match off eye all day long or tint with certain clears, but there's a point of,
okay, so
like doing your due diligence with matching colors.
Oh, there we go. Switch this. You can see it, right? I mean, I got it up there. I didn't know if I had to update it automatically kind of made it us on the side, and then so that's good. So if I did that, then
like you could go pull your paint code off your car right now and type it in.
Yeah. So give me one really quick if you can.
Oh, I don't know.
Because so you can type in OEM and then Toyota.
But usually, like, as the coder, I'm like, if they want to match it to a whatever car, I'm like, okay, then find the paint code.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
And boom, it's going to come up with variances. Like sometimes I've had like 2 or 3 or 4 variances come up.
Right.
And this is cool because this is almost along the lines of like how like PPG's mixing station would work. Like you type in the paint code, and then it's going to plop. Sometimes it'd be a nightmare. It'll plop down like 15 different variances. And then you're going, oh shit. But luckily with powder coating, it's, straight from the bag to the gun, apply it, and that's what you're getting. Right.
Now, so the big news at SEMA was that Tiger Drylac had a OEM color stock card, and Ross liked it. I got him. I couldn't pick them up while I was at SEMA because they hadn't flown them in. I guess they were kind of running.
Could you imagine being the one that has to spray all those?
I know, right?
Chips, even if it's on a line. I'm always curious about how Prismatic offers that many chips.
Yeah, but I'm gonna get those. Because it's not on my desk. So I got the new OEM one. Ross liked it. I was like kind of disappointed, but it's not OEM actually. I have an OEM, and then they have an aftermarket one, and then they have this metallic one that I never had before. So
I need to just put my big boy pants on and try some Tiger. I've sprayed Tiger Drylac in my career, trust me, but since I've been in business, I haven't sprayed any of their stuff. I have like one bag of like Yamaha Blue, but that's like 15 years old.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it just works for us because they're mostly out of California, although they're kind of dwindling their, because of supply chain. They don't have as much selection so a lot of the stuff we're ordering these days, and primarily we use it for all of our architectural, they want bronze, so we do shoot a lot of bronze here. and stuff. But you know, they were really excited. This was like the big thing because I went to all the paint powder booths there. I went to Prismatic, I went to Tiger, and I went to IFS. And IFS had a pretty small booth, but they were represented.
Their powder is so good.
I know, but you know what?
Some of the best powder I've ever sprayed in my life.
I hear that, and we have shot their powder.
But it's hard to get.
Well, I don't know if it's hard to get because for
back in the day,
reason,
it was for
my
me.
Customers, I can put it in front of them, the same like Tiger, and they always pick that. I don't know. It's just a regional thing, like just the.
I would say it's like more of. I would say it's more along like it favors the applicator than instead of the end customer because it you know it just makes the applicator rant and rave about how good it works.
Well, I would love to. We would love to carry more IFS because they're out of Texas, so they're closer to us. That means we get it shipped faster. We kind of lean on those West Coast guys like Prismatic and stuff more and more. But I don't know what it is. Maybe it's my display. Maybe I'm just not bringing it up. I don't know.
Well, it's every time you got to think about it though. When you're spraying tons and tons of handrail, you got to really think like the bronze that is more keen to the customer's eye. They're going for 9 times out of 10. It's like here in the Northwest, BR23 is the #1 bronze that's sprayed. Like I guarantee you, there's tons and tons of that gets sprayed monthly in this state.
Yeah, so I try. I could probably try a little bit more. I love IFS. I love the people. Getting to know Fiona and Miranda a little bit, not Miranda, but Mariah a little bit more and stuff. And because I see them at the shows, you know, the trade shows now. And so I'm kind of, you know, I kind of need to do more and stuff. But you never know what people want, right?
Well, I would say IFS really isn't like on the forefront of, you know, being out there, being really that well known. It's pretty well known, I would say, in like southwest part of America. It's just like, you know, Cardinal, Prismatic, IFS, those are all West Coast brands. And then you got Tiger and PPG and like Axel Noble and all those dominate the East Coast.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. And for that, I need to, I'll just publicly apologize to Gabe Baragas from Crosslink Paints because I went to order some touch-up paint from his website, and I went to the wrong tab and thought they stopped carrying the Tiger Drylac matching paint cans, matching paint touch-up paint, and then I'm like emailing him like, you don't carry Tiger anymore? What's the matter? And he's like, he goes, what are you seeing? Are you trying to give me a heart attack? And I mean, he said it was just, you know, him, and he's been on the show a couple times too, but I was just like, oh my gosh, I went back there and I clicked on the wrong box. Right. So
yeah, I haven't seen a matching can of touch-up spray paint since I was an applicator for other people.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's not us sometimes.
When you're doing lots of handrail, you have to have it because some of those dudes have to like prefab, like do a little bit of fab in the field and, you know, get a little touch up. They do.
And so I was like, wait, you're not carrying Tiger Drylac touch-up paint anymore? And he's like, are you kidding me? What? You know, like he thought his website was down. But I'm going to grab those new catalogs from Tiger because they're pretty cool. I think that they're a little, I guess I was thinking that they were like a little, I get what they were doing when they were categorizing. Obviously the OEM is OEM. There's not much to be done about that. This guy keeps calling me. I wonder if I should answer the phone. No, I don't know the guy.
You guys are still on the clock over there, right?
Yeah, we are. And I just put my phone on D&D. They can leave a message, but this is the second time he's called. But I'm not sure who he is, and I'm not wanting to answer it. So hold on a second. I'm just gonna ignore
You're good.
it.
You're good.
Hold on. So this is the first OEM color card for Tiger. And it's pretty, Ross seemed to like it, but I'm not the OEM one, it's the aftermarket one I was a little disappointed in. So this is just OEM. I mean, it's just,
I mean,
this is what it looks like.
if they're offering it, then
Yeah, this is a new card. So it's volume 1. It's a new card that they just came up with. So similar to IFS has their aftermarket, or not the OEM, but they have their own OEM. But this is I guess their OEM, what they're calling OEM. So anyways, it's a nice card, not a very big card. Their aftermarket card, Ross really likes. I was kind of disappointed because most of these, there's quite a bit of blacks, which are nice. But then it's just the stock red and stock orange kind of stuff, like here, this is what it looks like inside.
Yeah, it looks like a Cardinal catalog.
It does. And I was like, wait, what? I mean, so this is what it looks like. It's volume 1. So brand new aftermarket color card. Meh, however, to me, when I think of aftermarket, and this is the second edition of this Metallics and Special Effects. This one here, I think, should be renamed Aftermarket because it's got.
Yeah, somebody messed up in the marketing department.
It's like, no, it's got the bronzes, it's got the silvers, it's got the candies.
Yeah, that's the special book.
That's what custom coders want.
Jeez, I didn't know they offered that much candies.
Yeah, they do. And
I've been wanting to spray their candy gold really bad.
We have sprayed their candy gold before, and Ross really likes it. I think that's all that we've done, though.
Because, with anybody else's gold that I've used, I have to do 2 light coverage coats, flash them both at 15%, and then go from there with clear, and then the clear seems to pull it all together, and you're not getting your super hard window framing and stuff with it.
Yeah. He has sprayed, what's in here is a dormant sparkle. He's sprayed that one and he loves that one. But we haven't tried any of these others though. But it's nice to know. I mean, there's a lot of colors here.
Well, especially if you're stuck in no offense to Prismatic, but if you're stuck in that wheelhouse of let's face it, how many colors do they sell that look identical to each other?
Mm-hmm.
So I could understand as a customer, it's overwhelming.
It can be overwhelming, yeah. So
but then if they offer something that Prismatic doesn't offer and it works better, then
I just think they should rename it to the Aftermarket color card. They shouldn't, I don't know, but that's what I would want to see as a custom coder, right? But then, we're still trying to, I think the industry is still trying to figure out who we are. They don't quite understand who we are.
Well, you got to think about it. I was thinking about this on the way home. How many categories within powder coating is there, and how many are being added every year? Because it's now they're spraying MDF stuff, now they're spraying plastic stuff. Spraying plastic with powder to me is I can't wrap my head around it. I understand that certain products won't get aground, but I can spray products that don't get aground all day long. I've done it before. I've done glass. I've done certain things that shouldn't catch aground, just messing around. But when you think about it, when it's you have your manufacturing and your line people, and then you have your job shop industrial-ish do-it-all shops, and then you have us custom people, and then you got the garage people, and it's and especially you have to think, I would say maybe half of this industry is actually buying from the major brands in this industry besides Prismatic. And I would say Prismatic really is, it's just a sister company to NIC.
That would be a really good poll to do, is to, send it out and just kind of get a feel for who's buying wet powder.
Well, it's there's a lot of things that I buy from Prismatic, but I don't use their clear. I use a
Wow.
different brand's clear because I like it better.
Yeah.
That's what it really boils down to is the applicator has preferences. And
At the same time, Nick wants, Prismatic wants to be known in architectural. That's what they're fighting against, right?
well, yeah,
Everything's
because
been
that's where the big money's at. You got to think
right.
about it like when you got Cardinal PPG's like coming in big swinging right now. They've stolen a bunch of contracts in this town. So it's like you have to understand like the people that are buying tons or pallets of powder they're buying it from Cardinal, they're buying it from Tiger, they're buying it from IFS, and there's people buying stuff from Mexico because Mexico actually offers really good powder. And you can't I don't know. You can't compete at $9 to $10 a pound when people are buying tons.
Right. And I'm wondering, like, are they changing their buying habits because of the pandemic or the supply chain disruption that's continuing on?
I've
What
seen
do you
zero
think?
supply chain issues with Prismatic, which is surprising to me.
Yeah. I
Like I
think
would
they said
say,
early on that they were doing okay, that they had enough
well, it makes no sense
binders
for me because I think
resins.
I would say a lot of some of the base product of the powder comes from Cardinal.
Mm,
Like they buy a lot of stuff from Cardinal and then obviously tone and whatever do what they do to make their own
right,
colors out of it.
right.
So like, and Cardinal's been really hard to get stuff through. Like, I mean, RDO1's been out of stock for I don't know how long. And
Hmm.
at one point I couldn't get my clear from them. So it's like, I scratch my head at that because in retrospect, there should be way more money and way more backing when it comes to product with Cardinal. I know they had some kind of, um, like I think they moved out of California. They built a plant in Vegas. They moved out of the building in California, which like disrupted all like going into COVID, disrupted all the like supply chain issues, and then now they're
Yeah,
trying to build another plant in Texas. So it's like this.
yeah.
It's just weird. Like I mean, all of our ingredients are coming from China, so I guess it's probably really just a
If
race
they're
to the bottom of the barrel, who's getting it first and who's running with it.
Yeah, but isn't I think that a lot of the chemicals are coming from Ukraine and Europe as well. So
Yeah,
I
and
don't
some from Australia, right?
right.
Like
Yeah.
I think a lot of Tiger Drylac stuff comes from Australia,
Oh,
from what
I
I've heard
don't
through the
know.
grapevine.
Oh,
But I
really?
mean,
See, this
you know what I
is
mean? You
I'd
hear
really like
how
to know
many
more.
weird random stories have you heard within the industry since you started, you know?
Yeah.
And
Well, I try to go to the source. I
I've
try
been
to
around
ask
people
them.
that have been in it for 30 plus years.
Yeah.
But see, at the end of the day, like what you do, that's awesome. Like you bring us information that us coders, us job shop owners don't, I'd say wouldn't really go to find those answers and to hear those answers be answered and the questions that you ask are the questions I want to ask. But at the end of the day, I don't have time to call up and bullshit with my favorite companies at the end of the day. I wish I
Yeah, and
did.
even when I do ask questions like to my rip and stuff, either he doesn't know or can't say. You know what I mean? So like,
Luckily,
what are you doing?
I have pretty close friends that are reps. So it's like,
Yeah,
I mean,
they'll tell you.
it's like the cool thing. But also my reps have been a big driving force of like all the knowledge I have.
Yeah,
So like, I don't know.
yeah.
It's different.
So let's check in with some friends here. Can you see, Ashton? Can you see the? Have I shared the comments, or can you see the comments too?
Yep, I
Oh,
can.
you can. So, uh, good looking honky is listening in or watching, and he says, Maui friends, hi, Peter North here, old adult film star, retired. Wife and I enjoy your stream tonight, guys. Thanks, Peter North. Well, thank you, good
Thanks,
looking
good looking
honky.
honky.
I like it. I like your handle there. Rex Vapes sounds like a friend from you.
It's
Um,
actually one of my longtime customers, actually. So,
yeah, is it? Thanks,
yep.
Rex. Sup, Ashton. Come to see what's up. AVP coding. I wonder who that could be. Cardinal sucks. I switched to Tiger. Tiger has a mine in Canada. So that was some good stuff. And Paul Peters, Uh, LMFAO, huge fan, Pete. LOL. Paul always has something hilarious to say or comment on. So thanks for joining us on Facebook. And I guess AVP, you're on, everybody else is on YouTube. Wow, cool. I
That's where
haven't
it's all
checked the
at. I
YouTube.
spend
Is
most of
it?
my life on YouTube, I feel like.
I I swear to God, sometimes I just get so fed up with Netflix. It's so much more relaxing to head over to YouTube and just watch, a 5-minute video instead of a whole series of, stuff. Have you guys had industry shift on inner work? What's inner work?
Yeah, I'm curious to
What's
see
it?
what inner work
What's it?
is.
Yeah, what is inner
What are you
work?
referring to as inner work?
Yes. Oh, incoming.
Yes, definitely. I've seen a shift personally, but I mean, I live in North Idaho, so I mean, there's a lot of money here. I would say, and this is like one of the Idaho during the pandemic was like the hottest what is it market to move to. So I mean, it's been really weird for me. Like end of August, it slowed down pretty hard. It got a little scary there for a minute, but then now it's kind of picking back up. I feel like a lot of people, snow's on the ground, so they're like they need something to do, so they're getting stuff done. But I mean, it's weird. Like sometimes I've been dead in the middle of summer when you would think you'd be doing a bunch of stuff. Like I'm
Yeah,
not.
summer can be hit and miss for us. Like we're either jamming or we're not at all. It's
Well, and
really weird.
that's kind of like it's the weird thing. I mean, I would say a lot of, politics probably has a lot to do with, the way people spend their money, I guess how scared people are right now
Yeah.
or whatever the situation may be. But
Mhm.
um I don't know, just like I find everything else when I say it's like holistic, like try to have a positive mindset. I feel like if I get stuck in this negative mindset of like shit, nothing's coming in,
Right.
then my brain's going to like impulsive behaviors of like trying to get work or
Right.
whatever, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like then you look desperate.
You fall
But
into the traps. Yeah.
yeah, but I mean at the end of the day, I that's like one of my main questions is like once you get to a certain point and everybody knows or should know or whatever, like you should have a steady, you know, thing of work coming in. It just makes me curious of like where does the marketing lie? Like when it comes to pay for marketing or when it doesn't. Like I've a lot of my business, a lot of my customer base is based on just what I've posted on Instagram for the last 13 years of my life. So that's very organic. That's very authentic. Like you've seen me grow from the very beginning to today. So it's like at the end of the day, I have a hard time paying for marketing,
Yeah.
but it's like, it's like, where do you draw the line? Do you get to a certain point with like how many followers or viewers you have or whatever? And then like, does the streaming or does the social media platform throttle you because you're getting so much now? Like at one point I was getting like 3 million page views on Instagram, almost 4 million. And then like the next week, like I haven't seen that for like almost a year now.
Yeah. I
So
agree.
it's in everything, like with any industry, I would say. Like the vape industry's plummeted, and that has to do obviously with politics and other things, but I would say, like 90% of my work just disappeared because of, the mail ban and certain situations like that.
Well, it's true. The latest post in Product Finishing Magazine, the Gardner Business Index finishing activity September closes with 49.8. So this is, I know it's reversed, but this is basically, anything below 50 is flat. It's not good. Hopefully it'll pick back up again, but I have a feeling this is a leading indicator here that they come up with, and it's basically they send out an survey. Now these people are going to be line coders and stuff like that. Some of the larger custom coders, I'm sure, are filling out this survey. We're not filling it out. I used to get emails every month, but I haven't gotten them lately. So this is kind of, something that they track based on questions that they ask the industry. So it's kind of important when it does go dip below. And I think this is general manufacturing. I'm not sure if it's I guess it's just finishing activity. So, that's kind of important. So I think we are going to see definitely a dip. I don't know at this point how much of a dip, but you can tell already some of the larger corporations are already planning for a dip because they're letting people go already.
I would say, I don't know. I've been in this industry since I was 18 years old. And I've seen some pretty grim, scary parts, but I've also, like, it never ends. Like, that's why I jumped into this industry, because at the end of the day, like, yeah, I can offer a luxury with this, but at the end of the day, there's still going to be a standpoint with powder coating that it is a necessity. There's always going to be people manufacturing shit. There's always going to be manufacturers needing it done. Or guess what? Your mom, sisters, cousins, grandmas, whatever is always going to need their wheels done at some point. Like, and I guess that's up to us as the job or as the owners or whatever, or your marketing team. Like, I would say everything's switched to this like influencer bullshit kind of like marketing. And I'm not saying it's necessarily bullshit at the end of the day, but like, I can't act like somebody I'm not every single day to entertain people. Like, I'm here to entertain you with the talents that I have. Yes, I might be able to talk and do that, but I can't do that every day anymore. Like, I can't be in front of the camera. I can't be talking and blowing smoke up people's butt just to get them in. But it's like, at the end of the day, I think that's where a lot of this stuff may be going, is like, I would say a lot of people that do get good work from it. There's like a lot of rap people that are doing raps on vehicles that are doing like, check out my YouTube, or, everybody does it with any industry. But I would say that's just where a lot of views and marketing and that kind of pull is getting pulled towards too, is a lot more of like the influencer. The how-to guy is not the how-to guy anymore. Like, we don't see any of that anymore, I would say. Right. Or maybe it just doesn't come up in my feed. But at one point, that's all this industry was a bunch of people telling you how to powder coat that had no real professional experience.
Yeah. Well, let's see. AVP is saying we were 90% motorcycle industry for years, dead June, then went to 75% to construction industry. Well, that's a nice transition. I hope you're making more money. The
motorcycle industry is definitely, I would say on the West Coast, it's booming like crazy.
Is it?
Harleys.
Well, AVP's
Harleys
in Arizona.
Popping.
Harleys are popping again?
Yeah, I would say so. Around here it is.
Interesting. Because, I mean, I would guess that, like, I don't know if it would be as much, because most of the baby boomers were into Harley Davidsons.
No, I listened to the Ride Boundless podcast, and that's kind of opened me up to like this, like, like the Harley culture more than I have been. Like, I've always been around it because of the custom industry, my brother being an airbrusher, a pinstriper, going to all the shows. Like, it's always around. And around here, it's just like they're everywhere. But I mean, I would say it would be like that a lot, like that in Arizona too, because it's perfect weather. There's also a huge car scene. But I mean, there's a lot of factors that come into that with being in Arizona. There's a lot of talent in Arizona, in my opinion, that I know of. And I mean, I only know a select few people, and like, I can only imagine what else is out there, especially with bigger shops. You gotta really look at the retrospect of things. If you're in Arizona, you got Phoenix, you got Scottsdale. I don't know where all the good people are at, but there's a lot of money and a lot of talent down there. So maybe that's where the work goes. Everybody just juggles, maybe people sacrifice finish for a cheaper dollar. That's what I'm kind of dealing with. I was doing a bunch of side-by-side stuff for a company. All of a sudden, they just stopped coming and wouldn't respond to me when I asked them what was up. And You understand it and you move on, and look elsewhere. Things will definitely come. It never ends, in my opinion.
Right? Yeah. I think for us, we're kind of looking at diversifying coatings. We're looking at can't say too much right now, but we're looking at getting into a different type of coating, not Cerakote or ceramic, although we were doing that before, but this shop's too small and we're too busy with powder coating for that. But we're actually looking at maybe partnering with somebody to offer a different kind of specified coating in HVAC. So,
Ooh.
yeah. And I think, what I recall of the Great Recession was, at that point, we weren't 100% doing powder coating yet. We were just dabbling in it. And we were refinishing furniture and, painting mostly. But then we just put on more hats, right? We just started getting into condo remodeling and condo, upholstery and just, upselling things or whatever. And that kind of got us through. So like for us on an island, we just wear more hats. I don't know what you would do on the mainland.
There's only so far you can go.
Right.
It's not like
the more services,
yeah,
and the more services you can provide as coders, I think the better we would be positioned if there was a recession. So you would think, oh wow, why would you want to get into another business? It costs, startup costs and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, if there is some kind of a downturn coming, then I want to be able to wear more hats because that brings more services, will bring in more business, right? So that's the way we're looking at it. But I also think it's a great opportunity too, because we do see, somewhat of an opportunity there.
Yeah,
we're still looking at it, but
my next thought of trying to get into offering something else other than powder coating is I've been wanting to try to do anodizing. So when it comes to
a small scale,
yeah, because I do a lot of dirt bike stuff. I do a lot of trick custom engine compartment stuff. So when it comes down to hardware, yeah, you want sweet hardware, standardize some hardware and stuff like that. Just be able to offer that, and then I don't know. Yeah. I'm a nerd when it comes to little shiny things.
Well, let's talk more about this Instagram stuff, because I texted you the other day and we were trying to come up with some topics and stuff, but it seems like there's been a little bit of a change going on in Instagram.
Yeah, it's trying to be TikTok.
Yeah, and it's trying to be TikTok, but also, the under powder coating, or what we used to, I don't know. I mean, I still use the hashtag powder coating, but it seems like either you're not getting as many likes or follows or whatever when either it's getting crowded, or like people were doing showing people how to do powder coating versus showing off their finished project. I don't know. I see some change, and I think the big trucks definitely have kind of dominated the space more. And you could definitely see that at SEMA. And then there's
a lot of that change comes from what are I don't know. It's not like a monkey see, monkey do situation, because not everybody gets to do what everybody gets to do. Mm-hmm. You got RMP Performance, which is Robert Soka down in Texas, and that dude's probably I would say one of America's best wheel refinishers.
Oh, definitely.
And I mean, but then you got, on the other flip side of things, you got Lacey Blair, and you got Zach, and you got this totally different side of the industry that, you have your real powder coaters. And then, like I said, they're not real. It's not that they're not real powder coaters, but they're more so on the basis of views, followers, they're making money not only at what they're doing, but they're making money in the sense of marketing, which is genius. I'm not knocking it, but I think that can do to a couple different things to the industry. It makes you strive for things that maybe aren't achievable for some people, but then you're also okay, where are you trying to pull your money from? From like the actual finished work you're doing, or are you trying to put on like this production of like Hollywood, you know?
Right. Or, sponsorship, right?
Yeah.
So like they're getting sponsored or
I
featured
think
on a
that's cool.
show or
That's
something.
exactly, like that's what I kind of wanted to do when I stepped in, was like I wanted to be like looked at as like, like your big name airbrush guys, but in this space. Like I wanted to bring like that weird athleticism to this industry, like, maybe being sponsored by Vans or being sponsored by, with
Right.
Skull Candy headphones or whatever, and like bringing that, like endorsement side of things to it. I didn't think it would have looked like this, like as like such of a, I don't
Yeah,
know.
but sadly,
It's
I
cable
think,
TV now.
yeah, but sadly, don't you think some of it is just Instagrams with there, at least in the lifted truck arena, Instagrams, there's a lot of girls, particularly out there with fans only accounts, and it's, I don't know. I kind of went into this like, whoa, there's this whole other thing, sex and powder coating, you know. Um,
Well, it's like it's plain and simple. Like, for me, I want to see, like where I was trying to get to it was it's like powder. What you see is like it's not like a monkey see, monkey do situation, but you're seeing a lot of like what's focused on is from what's being reposted by these powder companies. And obviously, there's only really one powder company that has a huge platform in social media, and that's Prismatic.
right.
And that's really like if you look into powder coating just in general, I would say that's really all you see is what is really coming from the main source of where we're all getting our powder from or whatever. But at the end of the day, it's like if they just did nonstop reposts of wheels, then it's going to be a huge wheel market. You're going to see like the custom wheel market blow up a lot more. Like when it comes to 2-piece and 3-piece wheels, if those were constantly reposted, that's probably what people would be reposting a lot of. But now that this, pavement pounder genre of the world is getting so outrageous, I would say it's like today's hot rods or imports or whatever. It's you don't see much like when you go to SEMA, I would say you wouldn't see much of the hot rod side of things that you used to. Now it's just like, let's throw a wrap on a truck, let's throw a lift kit on it, and let's powder coat it, and that's our build. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's not what it used to be. It's
It's
not like
not, yeah,
it's not an actual custom culture. I mean, when it really kind of comes down to it, the only custom thing being happened is the color being applied to this shit.
right, yeah.
So
Hello,
like
Aaron. Oh, hi, Aaron. Aaron says hello.
the big dude, he came up here and we got to hang out for a week together and throw down on some cups together. And he also did this cup for me.
Aw,
So
nice.
it's pretty cool. I got to hang out with one of my favorite powder coaters in person.
That's
That
awesome.
You got to get that dude on this show.
Well, Aaron and I are working on a show, but he said he was really busy because it's a busy time for him with all the show,
I
like
bet you his
festive
hands have fallen off. It's
shows
Christmas.
and stuff. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah. So if your hands haven't fallen off by next year, we're gonna get you on a show. And Yeah, Prismatic and Cerakote have the best marketing. They do. Everyone thinks Cerakote is stronger than powder. Um,
It
I
is in
hope,
certain aspects.
yeah, it is. And I hope to have someone from there on pretty soon. It was going to happen, and then it just kept getting postponed, and schedules got crazy, and now it's the holidays. So hopefully, I'll be interviewing someone from there pretty soon. And I'm very, very excited. And I think that in the direction of the podcast, I'd really want to get into interviewing people about powders because I'm kind of personally starting to get interested in them, like the chemical makeups, and keep it simple for everyone. But learning more about powders would be interesting to me. So I
I'd
was
say
hoping
that's
to
a
get
big
some more.
topic. That's a big
Yeah.
topic that needs to be talked about, especially
Yes.
when I would say a lot of the percentage of this industry is your people trying to figure it out.
Well, the supply chain too, I think, has confused people, and we don't understand why we can't get this powder, or it can't come in, or they're waiting for it, or, whatever the problems have been in the past. Right. So I think it's time to kind of start focusing. So I think, I'm just talking in a general focus, right? Just maybe start to get some powder people on. I think a lot of it is, I don't think anybody realized the podcast would last as long as it has. And they're like, oh yeah, we'll wait till she's, we'll see if she succeeds or something, or they succeed, but I think we're succeeding, we're certainly toughing
No,
it out and stuff. And, maybe we're getting recognized now.
I would say regardless if you're known or if you're not known, like my advice to you is keep plugging along, keep getting people on, regardless if they're big name coders or if they're little name coders or if they're powder companies or if they're not powder companies, because at the end of the day, like the driving force is the people that come on.
Yeah.
And then like your job is to answer the questions, and you know what I mean? So it's like I don't know. You can't look at it that way. You can't look at it like, oh, we'll wait till she's big and then we'll hop on. That's kind of bullshit because,
Well,
if you're
but you have
playing
to
your cards
realize these
right,
people have like thousands and thousands of dollars to, uh,
money's
spend
money.
on marketing, right?
Right.
And I don't think they're, I think podcasting is so new to begin with, right?
Well, you got to
It's sort
think
of
about how many podcasts there was. Like, I heard a statistic about how many were like started in the year and then like to the month. And it's like, podcasting was popping 5 years ago when there was maybe a couple 100,000 and now there's millions.
yeah, there's
So it's like,
millions.
I
But
listen to
then
10
people
to
start one or
12
two
different
and that's it.
podcasts. I
Hmm.
listen to 10 or 12 different podcasts. So it's like, sometimes it's hard to keep up with all of them.
Yeah. Spotify said that about 100 of our followers, or I guess followers or listeners, we're in the top 20% of their most listened podcasts. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I think I can do some, I don't know where, I have to figure out where I can do actually like sound effects on this thing.
You got a Stream Deck, huh?
I think I gotta, yeah, you can do sound effects, but I don't see any, like, I don't see anything
I
that
think once you
says,
get to the point to where you have like your own little podcast studio and you're doing things in person, then that's when like the big production and fancy things come in. But that's like
yeah,
this is what podcasting was supposed to be. It was supposed to be like it's like new and defined radio. It's radio with no filters. It's you know what I mean? Like you want the honest truth, you want the honest conversations, then go listen because it's going to be honest back and forth. This isn't scripted. This isn't like some mean production. Like you can get mean production, the aspect of like making it look good.
yeah.
But, if you're just listening to podcasts like I do, which is all day at work when I'm doing something, I'm not watching them. I don't have time to
Yeah, a
watch
lot of the
them.
YouTube, I think I listen to a lot of YouTubes. I don't really watch what they're saying, or
Same.
especially on podcasts, right? So it gets a little boring just looking at two people talking. But, I'm really encouraged by everything that's been happening. And I'm certainly flattered by some of the more recent larger companies that have come and talked to me, not just be guests, but like actually come and
You were
talk to
chilling
me
at the
about.
Benco booth all week at
I
SEMA.
was. I had so much fun with that. So
Like
much fun.
you're doing it. You're getting there. Like we went through a little hiccup with COVID and all that stupid bullshit. So it's like the world's
Oh,
kind of
people
getting
were
back
really
to
excited to be there. They were.
yeah. I'm kind of bummed I didn't get to go, but I'll end
Yeah.
up there one year. We'll be there
Yeah.
someday. Someday.
Yeah. It was so much fun. And it just, the guys that came, Scott Morris came down from Arizona, or came up from Arizona. And it was just so nice to meet him and his sons and talk about, because, he had some surgery on his arm, just like Ross had some surgery on his hand. And so we kind of took about 5 minutes to meet up with each other and, introduce ourselves and stuff. It was just great. But I'll tell you, the night I'm laying in bed the night before my, the thing starts, the SEMA thing starts, and I've got to do all this running around in the beginning, I got to carry all this equipment. It weighs like 50 pounds. I'm like, struggling and stuff. I got, I'm trying to think through my day, like what time I'm waking up, and you got to catch the bus because you don't want to, whatever. It was just like a lot of logistics going through my head.
Then you're like looking at your clock and it's 5 a.m. because you haven't slept. Right? You've been thinking all night.
So I'm like trying to visualize my day, and then I'm thinking, what the hell am I doing here? I'm so scared. I realized how scared I was. I'm like, I can't do this. I was just like talking myself out of it, and I'm like, what am I doing here? I want to go home. And then I just suddenly got up and didn't think about it after that. When I got up in the morning, I just grabbed my coffee and got dressed, put my makeup on, and got my shit and walked out the door, and just tried not to think about it ever. And once I got there, I was just like so thrilled, right?
Oh yeah, you get to see all the people and talk to all the people that you have been for the last couple of years, and actually get to see them face to face. It's a beautiful moment. Like I gotta go back east and to Ohio and visit a bunch of my friends that I do a lot of the vaping stuff with, and I've talked every night on Discord chat rooms and stuff with a lot of these people, and see their faces every day over the computer, but when you actually get to meet your friends in person, it's a totally worth it experience. And then also if you're bringing something to the table, it just adds to it. And then you're going home on that airplane like yes, you're pumped.
I was so pumped. Ross was like rolling his eyes, but poor guy got to miss it all because he was stuck doing that stupid job. But yeah, I wanted to get back. I couldn't wait to get back online. This has actually been my first live since I got back from SEMA. I had pre-recorded another a Faraday Cage podcast that I did with Kenny Barnes from TCI, which was a really great show. It's not very long, and it's very informative. We've got a graphic in there, so like head over to YouTube to watch it. But I'll tell you who's been like surprisingly, who was the thanks Paul. He said I killed it at SEMA. Surprisingly, I had a guest, Richard Ludwig. It's the one on the ovens, and I can't hear. Sometimes I make this stuff up, and then it just leaves my mind. The minute I'm done, I figured it out. This is the title. This is the intro. Whatever. I publish it, and then I move on. But I think it's episode 50, 53 or 54. Okay, Kim, just pull up your damn podcast page. It took me a year to get this guy on the show because he's so busy.
Jeez. And
it's before the SEMA shows, so I published it just before the SEMA shows. It's Myth Busting Ovens with Ice. And Ice is industrial coating equipment. Richard Ludwig, he is a 40-year veteran expert, and everybody has been loving this show. I couldn't believe how many downloads it's had. So again, doing these shows makes you realize like how what are the hot topics for people, because clearly
building ovens in America right now is a huge thing.
It is. And so we dabbled a little bit about a lot of things, and you got to wait you got to listen to the very end, because actually I asked him, like, we talked about the used coat, equipment market, and he's so informative he had a very poignant thing to say about that. He had a very poignant thing to say about the powder coating over wood, which totally made sense. That, maybe it's not all it's cracked up to be, but we'll see. Certainly the Powder Coating Institute is getting behind it, so I don't know what that means, but
I would say, just on that topic, is for the manufacturer, it's a point of convenience.
Yeah, I mean the upside to this industry, if they can perfect it, is huge. I mean, it would be revolutionary, and
it puts the wood refinishers out of business, like that.
Does. Yeah, it will, or they'll have to convert.
Well, it's just like the the liquid versus powders thing. You know, why does liquid cost $1 million, and why do people think that powder coating needs to be a quarter of that price? You know, like people on both ends need to understand, you know, the value of product, the value of what, you know. I could go on for days about that situation, but
yeah. So, you know, that was a good indication for me that, you know, we need to talk more about ovens and maybe get some more oven professionals or equipment specialists on and stuff. So those are some of the things I learned earlier this year. But yeah, I mean, I'm just loving the lives. I think it's fun just to kind of change it up for me, instead of like the formal. There's a lot to do after you record and have a guest on, and I still want to do those kinds of more formal interviews, but I just love this live situation just because it's so easy to publish. You know, it's being published.
It's cool because it can kind of put you in the groove. Like you could do your live show maybe every other Friday at a certain time, and then you get your followers on this like schedule of like they got something to watch after work, or they got something to watch or listen to. You know, like that's why I used to race home every Friday night. There's a bunch of vape shows on YouTube, and I'd be involved in those. So it's like you do that, and then you also have your podcast as well, like kind of bouncing off each other. You get your you get your high serious things on the podcast, and then you get like the good catchy interviews on live, and then it's there forever. And it's in like,
I'm thinking.
I think it's awesome that you're doing the StreamYard thing where it goes everywhere. Like that's
cool.
Genius. That is genius.
I gave up on the Zoom, and I'm saving money actually because this is actually a cheaper platform. So, and you can do so much more with it, with the chat and the comments and stuff. Yeah. Oh, good. Thank you. Good feedback there. And you know, I can actually now with I think I'm pro on here, so I can actually have more than one guest. So now it can be you with Aaron and Paul and AVP and what's his name, the horny guy or the good-looking honky guy. We can have good-looking honky on, or Rex Babes for that matter.
You could get like some of the big dudes or anybody you want. We could have like a round table of discussion. Get Ross in here.
Yep.
Start talking some major shit.
This is where I am really, you know, I'm a sneaky wife. And so this is kind of my way of solving that problem, by getting him on. And he does like the lives, especially with a cocktail in his hand. So
no, I'm right there with him then.
Yeah.
We could get one. We could just call it like Powder Coating Comedy Hour.
Exactly. And Ross and I were just like, well, let's get some like black lights or get a studio vibe going. And Ross wants to play his favorite music, you know, that he's cultivated on Pandora forever, not Spotify, but Pandora.
Oh, then me and him would have like a good 45-minute session, because like I've been paying for Pandora Premium for years, right? Yeah. And then a couple months ago, for some magic reason, my Pandora library just shit out on me. Like all my like what is 10 years of just non-stop things. Man, I got so pissed off, I just stopped paying for it and like switched to Spotify.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. Well, we'll definitely, he has definitely cultivated his
I had unique, like 20 to 30 different playlists.
And the thing is you got to pick a song when you name a channel, or, you know, you want to cultivate a certain feel
vibe.
Or mood or vibe, whatever. You have to pick a song that, what we figured out is you can't pick the main song that everybody knows and then follow it from there, because it always leads into like just more bland, overplayed shit, right? What you want to do is find something that resembles that genre, but it could be a one-hit wonder.
That's exactly what I've been doing with Pandora.
Yes, and that is I think that's the secret, or at least
that's the secret sauce to Pandora. I found some of the the music that I listened to as a, you know, like in high school and stuff, or playing video games, and I'll think of whatever. Like I was listening to like Oh, I can't remember who it was, but like Iron Swan came on from I can't remember who's this. That's the song, but I just posted like the stencil pull video I just did the other day has that song in it. But anyways, like I found that song because I listened to some other stuff, and I'm like, how does this come up in this radio station? And then it was like 3 days of just like, oh my god, I found like these tunes that were like stuck way back here in my head that you haven't heard forever.
It's true. I wonder if I can, if Paul and Aaron want to come on, let me share that link here that I sent you. I'll just say bye, Rob. See ya. I'm gonna copy
Get
that
the
link.
new guy on the podcast.
I know. Oh, poor guy. He's like, so I'm gonna post a comment. If anybody wants to jump in, let's just do this, bitch. I'm probably gonna just be like a few more minutes because Ross is getting ready to. He knows we're podcasting, but he's
closing shop.
He's closing the shop down.
In.
I think he went to go get his truck and stuff. But if you guys want to hop in real quick, let's just say hi to each other and just rap for a few minutes because I know he'll put up with it for a few minutes until we can. And I've got so much to do. Oh my god, I got to go do my Turo and
it's Friday
tonight. It's Friday, and I'm still working. I think I'm going to be working all night. So, anyways, yeah.
Yeah, I gotta go in tomorrow.
In there. I think if you have the link, you can just. But the thing is if you use your phone, you have to have your headset on your what are those things called? The earbuds things. So if you're not too, oh, he has a customer on the way. Okay, so he's got to pick up a set of wheels. We get that. We understand that. So I think. One of the things I saw something of Roro the other day, and he actually had reposted a set of wheels that he'd done a long time ago. And I'm thinking, man, that guy's got so much content. And we have so much content. I took so many photos.
I refuse to repost old stuff that I've already posted.
Really? Because I think
I've done it, but then I just get to the point to where I feel like I don't know. Like for me, like I'll scroll down into my Instagram page and I'm like, whoa, what the fuck? I did that? Like I'm surprised or I've forgotten or whatever.
Yeah.
But it just seems like now, like obviously I don't get to be as creative as I used to. I'm doing more of your normal everyday things than I had been. So like that's the only really sad part for me is like I'm all out of ideas at the end of the day when it comes down to like these crazy, wild, outlandish things.
Oh, I
like
know.
Sometimes I get a wild hair up my ass and I do something. Like I figured out how to do lace with powder coat. I think.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I saw that. That was gorgeous.
Maybe
absolutely stunning.
There's another dude that I seen do it, but it's like that's where I'm at. That's what like really drives me in this industry is to do things that are you can't do that or it's impossible or. No, cool. Like you might as well just call me impossible because the things that I've gotten to do, and even like Aaron's a driving factor in the reason why I stick with doing stencil work.
Yeah.
Because it's like if you guys haven't, like go check out Nerds and Nomads on Instagram because that dude,
it's shameful. It's definitely shameful. He does it so well.
Yeah, it makes me mad.
We love you, Aaron.
But at the end of the day, it's like, I don't know. That's kind of the things that I love to do.
I want you to reconsider this, and I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to challenge you to repost because the customer is none the wiser.
Well, and that's where I was kind of getting to is it's like, I kind of fall back on thinking that people are just going to go binge like your page, right? And get ideas and like curate this same kind of idea thinking that you have, but that's not how your customer is.
They're
9 times out of 10, that's not.
So much stuff coming at them from every angle all the time.
That and 90% of the time, they're not going to dig through what you have to show to see what they want, like,
right.
And that's kind of where I get, I don't know, it kind of like maybe kicks me in the butt a little bit is I'm not like throwing what I can do in everybody's face every single day. Like maybe I should do that once a week when I there he is. There he is. But that's kind of where it goes.
Hi. I think we're just going to interview you now, Aaron, but no, we're going to get you on an official show. I'm just happy that you popped in.
Totally.
I was just saying I might have to leave pretty soon, but maybe I can get back on it on my phone on the way home. But yeah, so welcome to the show. Aaron is got a very unique talent of doing like cups and mugs. And I mean, I think the silverware is what sticks out in my mind because I just see the silverware and it's just such a great gift idea with powder coating on it, you know, and I don't know how you even, I wouldn't even know how to attempt to do what you do, right? You know, with the designs and I mean, I think the same for Ashton as well, but you can kind of see some of the things that he does. But when you look at the characters and the vibe that you put on a cup, it's just, I don't know how you do it. You just know you have that graphics kind of mind, I guess.
He's an airbrusher, but with powder coat. That's what he is.
Yeah.
That's one way to think of it. A lot of time, a lot of practice.
Yeah.
The 10,000 hour rule.
Right. And it's like,
hey, I had 10,000 hours and I couldn't do half of what you do.
I know. I think you have to give yourself some credit, though. It is talent. There is some talent going on there, right?
Well, thank you.
So I think the thing that, you know, and it's hard to capture this in a, you know, photo on some of the stuff, but I have seen some of your stuff where it's like, it looks puffy. Like it's like a puffy paint. That is so awesome. How you create that puffy paint look. Wait, just turn it a quarter. There you go. Okay, there you go. That looks like it's crazy. It looks like a sticker, but it's not a sticker. It's powder.
Well, that's my goal is to make it look like a sticker.
Right. Yep. Did you have any graphics stuff to begin with, or how kind of just give us I know I want to interview at some point, but just give us like a 10-second, like how you got into it kind of thing.
Ooh, well, that's a long story, so I'll give you the short version. Jennifer and I wanted unique flatware for our wedding, and we couldn't find anything that wasn't cheap or was plastic or, you know, it wasn't unique. So we got the idea of making our own, and it started with a set of Star Wars flatware, and we looked into hydrographics and laser etching and all that, and came across powder coating, which this was in 2018 when I first learned about powder coating, and
which is even more phenomenal now that most coders take 10 years to learn everything, and you just telling me you just learned it in 2018.
Yeah, well, and that's what I started powder coating on, was flatware. That's where it all started, doing little tiny imagery.
Yeah, that is truly amazing. Okay, so let me give you let me change up the banner a little bit, and we'll create a new one. So give me your Instagram.
Dry powder art.
Okay, Aaron. Wait, 2 A's.
And I've got some cool stuff laying around if you want to see it that I've done lately. Give me a second.
What's your Instagram again? What would you say?
It's at Dry Powder Art.
At Dry Powder Art. Oh, is that his like oven there?
Yeah, so he's got, well, that's his spray booth. He's got the same cool coat spray booth, like benchtop spray booth.
Yeah. So like you do a lot of orders, like it's.
Oh, I've done about 1,200 units this year.
Jesus.
Crazy. That's nuts.
Here's one for another podcast company that I just completed.
Oh, that's sick.
The geeky waffle.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Look at the waffle. It's like 3-4 different colors.
Wow.
Yep.
And
Dude.
This is let's see, RAL 1004, RAL 1034, and then I forgot what this white is, and then this is a clear coat, super. It's like nuts. A brassy clear coat, and then blackjack is the top coat on the tumbler. But yeah, I try to make it look like a sticker, and then try to create as much texture as I possibly can with it.
Yeah.
You've probably seen this one on there, the Jurassic Park.
Yeah, that is so cool.
Made a bunch of these, and then just finished this one, which came out pretty cool.
Oh,
nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude.
So I'm really working on like doing full wrap designs.
Yeah.
I like that.
So you have like the Jurassic Park one is just a common one that everybody likes and will pick it up and stuff. And then you do this other side where you're doing like customs, like you did for Ashton's, where it's just like something with his name on it or whatever.
Correct. Yeah. We've got some probably maybe 20 designs that are commonly purchased, but everything else outside of that is custom.
Wow.
I would say like the main thing, like if you follow their business page, which it's Nerds and Nomads, right?
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
So if you watch their stories and you follow them, like keep an eye out because sometimes he'll like close like his custom orders. So you got to be like on top of it to get in line to get some of his work. Like it's not just like, hey, can you do this? Yeah. I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will take it up. But if he's busy, he's busy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, especially during the holiday season, we stopped taking custom orders in November because there's too much going on, and everything takes so long to paint. Like, here's one. This is probably our most popular design. It's the Baby Grogu Starbucks mashup.
Oh my goodness. It's the name and their favorite thing. Yeah.
Yeah, we add the name to it. And what's cool about this is the menu is like negative imagery, so that goes into the cup, and then the black is positive imagery, so it's sitting on top.
Right.
So you can like feel it. So
that is
kind of looks like it was written on there with a marker or something.
It does. I don't know
like
how
a gel pen.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's so sick.
Yeah.
It is. Well, that's great, and
it's fun. Yeah,
you're so talented that others would go, I don't want to get into powder coating because Aaron exists.
Well, I'd love to show people more how to do it. I think that's important.
It's a huge importance in our industry, and I think.
Yeah. A rising tide lifts all boats.
Exactly.
I agree.
Well, it's like it kind of goes back to like what was it, Thresh 99? He talked about like the beginning of this industry, right? And how Westinghouse and Ford were like in this race to the patenting office, and it was like always hush hush. I feel like it's almost like we're hunter-gatherers in the sense that that's been passed down onto us like genetically in this industry. It's like, don't tell him this, don't tell him that, like it's all this bullshit. And I feel like, I wouldn't be where I'm at when it comes to stencil work if it wasn't for Aaron, like an inspiration and just bouncing things back and forth between the both of us. Like it like I'm sure we could get better, and there's tools and things that are coming out now that would just add to what he's doing, what I'm doing. And it's like, if we don't share that shit and we don't make it a point to share that stuff, like we're not doing anything. We're not taking this industry to a point to where it could really be.
Yeah, I was talking to, we've got our own, we've got some, I know a lot of people know about some of the stuff we're coming out with, but like we've got this zinc anode. So it's just a little screw thing, right? And if you have an aluminum gate, you know, Ross is always thinking, okay, how long can I make this finish last? Right? We're doing the primer, the pre-treat, the outdoor rated powder, whatever. And, you know, because he was a boat person or in commercial boating before he got into powder coating years ago, you know, he remembered that, you know, all the props are made out of aluminum. And then these boat people or these fishermen or whatever, they buy these zinc caps that go on the end of the prop. And what happens is when it's in salt water, the salt water will use
Go to
zinc
the zinc.
as a sacrificial layer, and it'll keep the prop from dissolving or, you know,
That's
eroding
rad.
away. So we found a guy to create these little knobs. I don't know. I guess they're bolt looking stuff, you know, and you just attach it with a quarter 20 hole. We sell them for $7 each. And for us
That's
here in
perfect for
Hawaii,
gates and stuff.
it's so easy to sell these because we're only, you know, they're $7. Like,
it's like a
people are
magnet.
"Oh."
It's like a magnet for the rust to go to. It's fucking
Exactly.
genius.
And it's serviceable. So like we just did this gate for a resort, and we put 3 of them on there. And you know, hopefully they'll come back 6 months later because they're right on the water and buy some more from us, right? So we're selling them to not just our customers, but to other coders too, and stuff. So we made a funny commercial on our YouTube channel. You can go over there and find it, and it's called Duralife and stuff, and everything. So, you know, we hope to kind of launch this product a little bit more in our industry, you know, but I think this one would go in multiple industries, not just powder coaters.
Oh yeah, for sure. My
Yeah.
biggest like mind-blowing experience lately is if you guys follow Coatings by Coats on Instagram,
Yeah,
he's probably
doing a
one
lot.
of the coolest I would say powder coating tool makers ever, if not the only one in this industry right now. And I just got his new little pneumatic vacuum kit. That thing is rad.
Is it, yeah.
I have the little.
Yeah, you got like the first version of
generation. Yeah.
I got the fatter one. I need to get that because he just came out with newer tips for that one that you can do like mounting surfaces and stuff for like, you know, valve covers, yada yada yada.
Yeah, that stuff is truly amazing, doing the valve cover.
Well, it literally cuts your time in half. Like, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, like you're taking money out of your own pocket when you can do it that fast. But if it's easier and less stressful on you, like it's way cool.
Right. Yeah, I use this tool all the time. The little vacuum tip.
Yeah, they're awesome.
That's the go-to tool.
That's so cool. I hope to have him on the show. He said he would come on. I want to have a new products show, I guess, is what I...
He's definitely on the forefront right now for tools. Like I have the light attachment for my gun. Yeah. I got the vac kit. And yeah,
He's funny though, because he goes, when I was texting him the other day, he was telling me that I go, well, do you have a website? And he's like, no, we sell it on Etsy. And I'm like, Etsy? Who's going to look for you there? Like
he's making a killing out of it. I think he's got like his wife running like the shop.
He said his wife had the Etsy account, so they just put it on there and he just send people.
Whatever works, whatever's clever, right?
It works. It's just Etsy kind of takes I mean, I don't know. Are you on Etsy, Aaron?
We are.
I mean,
of course they are. They're probably making a killing on it.
Is that your main? Is that your main lead?
It's almost half of our retail business is through Etsy.
Do they take a lot? I mean, cut-wise? Okay.
No, it's single percentage.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say the main people that are taking a lot are like your actual like companies that are like distribute, like your money's getting sent to and from. Like right now, it's like PayPal is unreal right now.
Yeah, it is.
I got
money grabbing.
I had like $4,400 or like, no, it was like $4,600 or $4,500 sent the other day. And then by the time it went to my account, they had taken $400.
Oh, well, that's not, yeah, I guess that's because like through our QuickBooks, I just had a $15,000 payment on those crazy chairs we were doing for that rich guy's place. Um, and it was like just under $500 for 15,000. I thought that was pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
when it comes into stuff that's like over double digits in the thousands, I'll just do like, okay, a couple payments through Zelle and there's no fees on either end.
right. Yeah. Yeah. There are ways around that. We use Stripe a lot too, and stuff. Aaron, is your goal to kind of, you got this kind of, you're doing this really crafty, very unique finish, and you can only do so much. So how do you balance that? Like, what if you get an order for 50,000 Jurassic Park mugs? Can you fulfill it, or are you not wanting to do that at all? Like, what's the goal for you and your wife? I'm going to include your wife on this. She might have a different opinion.
She's in the other room. I don't think she's hopping on this. Well, we really don't do like too much promotional stuff or commercial type things. We keep our quantities pretty low. I don't foresee anybody ordering 1,000 Jurassic Park units, so that won't
Never
be a
know.
problem.
But yeah.
Unless it's from the movie studio themselves.
Yeah.
Where do I see it going? I don't know. It's right now we're pretty limited to the drinkware. I don't know if we have much to do with, or how far we can go with that. I would like to eventually get into the automotive industry and partner with somebody who wants to do some really creative finishes, in like a motor bay or with wheels or whatever. You've seen on our page the frosting and the drips that I do. That's kind of like my signature thing. I'd love to do some type of, it's called like Kawaii, like a Kawaii theme.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Okay. Well, I saw, and I can't remember who it was. Who was it? It was I think it was I think it was Tiz Wheels at SEMA. Somebody did like a candy or a trans rim, and then they took an etching machine and they etched the barrel with like this. I know it was a bit on the gaudy side, but I felt like at least it was out of the box, right? It was a lot to look at, and so I feel like it kind of lost its, like if they put less on there, it would have been more striking, but it was like almost like a tattoo, very, very intricate kind of design. I thought it was different. It didn't seem practical at all, but
I got to do some stencil work on some wheels not too long ago.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Is that on your Instagram?
Yep.
So why were you barfing? Was it very difficult to do, or what?
I don't. More power to, like, I'm not knocking the hustle, but I just don't think it's, I see people doing it on like the aluminum Fords and then like clearing over it and stuff. Like, yeah, it's cool, but
the etching.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between etching and engraving, and like I feel like the etching has like, people think etching is engraving, and like if you think of true engraving, it's like on like a spindle and they're like carving it out with like a knife. Like that's like, I would think if that could be possible, like that would be cool on like that application, but I don't really think it's that great.
Yeah. I hear you. Well,
yeah, I don't know. I see a place for stencil work in the automotive industry, whether it's in wheels or valve covers. And I'm not talking about just simple stencil work, but more complicated imagery where the pigment's being stacked to create texture and depth and dimension. I think it just has to be the right project.
Okay, thank you. Ross is gonna go get some diesel, and then he'll be back to pick me up. he's giving me my 10-minute warning.
The red light is
But
flashing.
he's actually being kind of nice about it too. But he knew. I was like, you don't give me the 1 minute warning. Like, I'm out of here and I'm checking out. I'm going home. But yeah, he knows. But he's so much happier now that we have this guy helping us. So like, he's in a better mood these days.
That's kind of where, like, I mean, this last summer I processed 350 boxes. They were all stencil work. There's 3 stencils on the box itself. So I'd base it, flash it, apply the stencil, and then spray it again, flash it, peel the stencil, and then it was like I got real good. I got real good at counting how long I could stick something in the oven and count to like so many seconds and then pull it out and not even have to have a timer, nothing like.
Yeah.
And it's definitely it's gonna happen. Like, this industry is gonna, I feel like it's gonna be, you're gonna see it more and more and more. You're gonna see a lot of these cup manufacturers. They're probably gonna start doing it. I would say, like, you're already starting to see, like, with laser, but with multiple colors. Like, the other day, my daughter comes home with a cup and it's faded, and I'm like, there's only 2 reasons why these cup companies would have faded a mug. It's because they've either seen Aaron's work or they've seen my work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like, or, you know, several other people's work, but it's like shit's gonna change, and it's another 5 years and we're gonna see some insanely good stencil work coming out.
You know, I think it's kind of interesting you say that, because I noticed that a lot of the powder companies are using some of the phrases and words that I am using on the podcast and in my own marketing.
Yep.
It's funny that you're saying that, you know, you're seeing like some interesting changes in the mug market, where you're seeing your own influence. And it's kind of funny because it's like, when you see it, you're like, oh, you know, I don't even know what my reaction. Yeah, like, I don't even know what the appropriate reaction should be, you know, like, because I guess I'm such a shy, you know, like, I guess I don't appreciate my own power within the marketplace. And I'm not trying to brag, but I'm just saying, like, oh, isn't that interesting? They're using that term or those 2 words together, or they're using, you know, like, and I'm not saying I'm the inventor of the word or whatever, but it's kind of interesting when you start to see your, you know, your own influence in the market. I mean, you can drive around town, and, you know, you know, if you're doing rims, Ashton, I'm sure you drive around town, you're like, oh, I did that one. Oh, I did that. You know, like, that's what sometimes we do when we're in the truck going somewhere. It's like, oh, I did that truck, or I did that, you know, it's, you know, okay, that's local. But when you're seeing it in the greater market, that's something else. That's kind of interesting.
I think Aaron and me kind of can agree on the point of, like, doing work and then seeing your work in other places other than just like in the US. That's a really big thing. Like, the other day I had like one of those boxes was reposted in front of like the London Bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, that's fucking cool, because like I'll never be able to go to the London Bridge, but a little piece of me is standing right in front of it.
That's powerful.
There's thousands of pieces all over the world.
I need like a little like clapper or something, like, yay. I think that's really cool.
But then it's like, it's funny though, because, you know, me and Aaron are on this point of like, me and him can bring something to the table that I would say 90% of the industry can't. And then you have, like, you know, Prismatic reposting nonstop chicks powder coating in short shorts and doing fucking lift kits. Like, no knock to their hustle at all. The fact that they can do it, and they can do it to a point to where they have that following, they have that clout, like, that is fucking awesome for them.
It is.
But like, yeah, let's stop selling sex and let's sell some fucking talent at the end of the day.
That's kind of where I think kind of where we ended up wanting to do the show, was to kind of point this out. That's what I've noticed. I mean, you just said it.
Well, it's like pulling tooth and nail for me to try to get the traction that I'd once had, and not like not that I need it. I don't want it or those aspects, but it's like I want to see people that are doing good work and they're showing the work. They're not showing the person that's doing the work. We don't need to know. We don't need to see your face all the time.
I would like to see it.
Yeah, go ahead.
I would like to see it be taken as an art, as a craft.
Right now, it's going into sex/powder coating, and
it's the influencer market, is what it is.
Yeah, it's. I'm all for ladies being. There's some awesome powder coating girls out there. Some of them are Instagram, and some of them aren't. But I think the problem is that it's getting seen on Facebook, and then there's this other subculture going on that's kind of creeping into powder coating. That is the girls with the fans only stuff. And yeah, okay, maybe they powder coat. There was some, I don't know if you caught the whole drama with some of the big truck people, but there's a girl called, is it Miranda? And she's out of North Carolina. She's on TikTok and she's on Instagram. And she has a pink and purple truck. And it's like it's crazy. Like it's got the lift kit, but the lift kit actually raises the truck, and it's got
like no knock to the hustle. Like regardless if you're like popping your pussy and showing your tits, like at the end of the day, I think it's just a point of like there's people that are talented in this industry that need to be showcased, and they need to be up here. Happened.
So she nearly hit somebody, and the car flipped over. It was this big rollover event. She nearly killed these people, and her truck obviously didn't sustain much damage because it's like 10 feet up in the air, right? And she broke a light. Her bumper's kind of messed up, but then she had this broken light. And she does this TikTok where she says that her light costs more than your car, like my light costs more than your car, and I have to, like this kind of stuff. It's the stuff that you don't really want to, and here we are like creeping into that whole truck market
that negative thing. Bullshit.
And of course, it all came back on her. All these guys are like, look, I'm a dude. I don't need to do this, what you're doing, to my TikTok. I'm just, I'm just being me. Right. And it was just like a lot of backlash. I'm sure it's still going on. And on top of it, they wanted to get her license revoked locally because of what she did and how unremorseful she was about the whole situation, because she's just this kind of spoiled brat and stuff.
Social media is wild. That's all I'll say.
And somehow it's all linked to all these truck people. And next thing you know, certain people's accounts are being pulled. They're sharing this viralness of what this girl and all these people that are bashing her now. And she's like, my little dog costs more than your car, like she's just doing the spoiled brat thing, and it's just all falling apart. But it's like that. Yeah, exactly. We don't want it to go there. That's disrespectful for our industry. It's not helping our industry at all. It's just bringing to light more of that. So maybe we should call up Prismatic and tell them to stop doing that.
Yeah, I think they should start focusing more on the art versus the artist. And powder coating is a medium that we use to create art. And whatever your canvas is, whether it's vape boxes or mods or tumblers or wheels or fences or outdoor furniture, that's just a canvas. And then the powder coat's the medium, and then that's the art when you combine those two. And that's what these companies that are creating the medium should be focused on, is the art, and not the artist who's creating it. Because that's not what it's about. It's not about the artist, it's about the art of powder coating.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like, look at me, look what I can do. It's look at this. Would you just look at this?
Yep.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Especially, with powder coating, it's a medium that you have little to no control over how it goes on. You only have control on how it comes off and what you can do with removing.
That is so true, dude.
You know what I mean?
redos.
Yeah, anybody can put powder coat on.
Right.
It's just, what do you do with it once it's on?
Right.
So,
yeah,
That's
it's 100%
kind of like,
or it's not at all. Like, it's just, you got to redo it.
like my main, I would say like my main goal within like the next 10 years or sooner or whatever would be like being able to consult. Like, yes, like if people have questions and they need, or they have questions, or they're trying to troubleshoot a problem, yeah, feel free to message me and ask me. 90% of the time, if I have the time, I will walk you through something or help you troubleshoot throughout several days if I have to. But I would like to get to a point to where I can offer, if I needed to come to your shop, or if I could put on a course at my shop, or whatever it may be, to teach certain things like the basics of stencil work, or the basics of process, or the basics of gun settings, and like just basic things. But also those basic things feed into these high technical, very hard things to do. If you know your basis is like your bread and butter, then something that you can't think of that is hard should be easy to do if you follow your basic process. So it's like, that's like where I'm at. Like I want to be able to get to a point where I can hire somebody to paint for me and teach them and be like, see, if I can teach somebody, they can do it. You can do it. Vice versa.
Will you hire me?
You know what?
But then it could get to the point to where then I can be traveling, flying, going to shops, helping people set up, helping people troubleshoot, like bringing that basis of like getting maybe a job shop owner sees that his applicator's like having a hell of a time or hates his life or whatever, and you can call me in and let me work with him for a week to a month, depending on how much you wanted to pay. And then I could make it, I can't guarantee that I can teach somebody exactly what I can do, but I can sure as hell give them the basics and like basically like the mental confidence to be able to look at something and dream it up and do it.
I think, I think we're going to get there, guys, because there's enough of us that want that. I mean, I've talked to, Ross wants to do it. I've talked to Brad from Utah Powder Works. I've talked to, you guys. There's a handful of other guys that I'm forgetting right now. And I think it's going to happen, but it's going to take a little bit of coordinating to get us all together in a room to kind of, okay, what's the format? How are we going to do this? And stuff, and to make it a teachable, easy platform for people to engage on, and stuff. So I think it can happen. We might not be there right yet, but there maybe in the future. I keep hoping, I keep making another website. I think if I make more websites, maybe something will happen.
I think it's just nonstop, like putting it out into the ether, putting it in places that people are listening to and constantly repeating it, and just like, you put it out there, it's going to come back. Just like negative energy. You put negative energy out there, it's going to come back.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just it's not necessarily a matter of time. It's just more so of like, I would say like we're in the end. I would say we're like towards the tipping point of the end of the boom of like everybody wanting to be a powder coater. Like there's going to be waves of that, and there's always going to be waves of that. Like in the last 2 months, there's like 2 powder coating shops that just all of a sudden popped up in my area.
Right. Are you ready to go? Yeah. Okay. We are ending on that note, and I'm going to continue that conversation with you because I said that to a GEMA guy at SEMA.
Well, just go, like, if you're in, like, there's a 40,000 member powder coating group. It's called The Powder Coating Group on Facebook. And the amount of people that I see selling or either jumping into, like, I would say the point of people selling and giving up because it's hard is higher right now because of, I don't know, a lot of things. But that's, that's where I'll end that.
Also the engagement on the groups too, the engagement isn't there like it used to be either. And I don't know if it's just because it's Facebook or people aren't.
No, it's because COVID's over and everybody's back to work. Nobody's got time to just sit on their ass anymore.
It could be. I don't know why I said that, because I had seriously, we went to I mean, it was after the show, and I went out to dinner. This large powder coating gun manufacturer took me out to dinner, which was really super nice of them. I didn't even meet them till just then. And one guy stayed back and we went gambling and took us an hour to lose $60. So I felt pretty good about myself. And we were just throwing back a beer, and it came out of me. I said, if they're not starting a powder coating company right now, there won't. It's kind of like the time is over, right?
Yep.
To start it. I think it's gonna kind of fade away for a while, and that's a good. And I think that you're going to start to see other companies grow, and then others that haven't really done very well just kind of fade away. So it's like it's going to kind of do a split thing, and I think that's something that is kind of just a trend that's coming down the pipe. I don't know.
Definitely
I can't really
trends.
put my finger on it just yet, but I feel it.
I would say it's more so trends. Like,
yeah.
And I would say a lot of like that everybody's going to be a powder coater trend came from the big boom of everybody's how-to powder coat page on YouTube.
Yeah.
And now they're gone. So those guys don't have nothing to live for anymore.
Yeah. Aaron, any last words before we go?
I feel like I'm one of those powder coaters that just started. So be kind, y'all.
There's a difference between people that just started and have no talent and people that do.
I think that you got nothing to worry about there. But it was awesome. I'm so glad that you hopped on and came on tonight's show. And I hope to do more of these. Thank you for holding my hand, Ashton, and saying we're going to do this on a Friday and stuff, because I haven't been live for a while, and I do want to do like every other week. I want to do a live and just have a jamboree of coders just come up and rap, or just have a more formal, like where we're asking questions or a panel discussion kind of thing. I think it would be fun, and who knows where it can go.
Heck yeah.
I agree.
Awesome.
I'd be honored to be a part of it.
Yeah, awesome. Okay. All right. Well, we'll talk later. Thanks so much. And thank you all for joining us tonight. I guess if you want to follow the podcast, it's the Powder Coater Podcast. Follow Ashton at Palmer's Powders, and follow Aaron at Dry Powder Art. Thanks again for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
All right. Bye.